Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Wright, and today we're going to explore the child welfare system, an essential yet complex aspect of social work. The primary goal of the child welfare system is to ensure the safety, permanency, and well being of children who are at risk of abuse, neglect, or other forms of harm. While these goals are crucial, it's important to understand that the system interacts with diverse populations in ways that can vary widely depending on culture, as socioeconomic, and community contexts. Our discussion today will focus on how the child welfare system functions, the cultural considerations that must be taken into account, and how we as social workers can navigate these complexities to support children and families effectively. Let's start by looking at the structure and key functions of the child welfare system. The child welfare system is a network of services designed to protect children and support families. It includes child protective services, CPS, foster care, adoption services, and the family preservation programs. Social workers within the system play multiple roles, from investigating reports of abuse or neglect to providing support to families to help them stay together whenever possible. However, when working with the child welfare system, cultural considerations are crucial. Families from diverse cultural backgrounds must have different understandings of parenting discipline and family roles, which can sometimes conflict with mainstream expectations. For instance, practices that are culturally acceptable in one community might be viewed as concerning or inappropriate by the child welfare authorities. As social workers, it's our responsibility to approach these causes with cultural humility and sensitivity. We need to ask ourselves, are we making decisions based on the best interest of the child within their cultural context, or are we imposing our own cultural norms and biases? This is where understanding and respecting cultural differences becomes a key in our work. Now, let's critically examine the child welfare system from the perspectives of various cultural communities. One of the main critiques of the child welfare system is that it often reflects and reinforces systemic biases. Families from marginalized communities such as Black, Indigenous, and immigrant families are disproportionately represented in the child welfare system. This overrepresentation can attribute to a variety of factors, including poverty, systemic racism, and the lack of cultural relevant services. For example, Black families are more likely to be reported to Child Protective Services, investigated, and have their child removed compared to white families, even when the circumstances are similar. This reflects a deeper issue within the system, one where bias and structural inequalities can lead to unjust outcomes for certain groups. As social workers, it's crucial that we recognize these biases and their impact. We must be vigilant in our efforts to ensure that our decisions are fair and equitable, and that we are not perpetuating harm by overlooking the cultural and systemic factors at play. So now, how can we apply these insights to our work within the child welfare system? First, advocacy is key. Social workers have a role in advocating for fair treatment of all families within the system. This can mean pushing for policy changes that address systemic biases or working to ensure cultural considerations are fully integrated into case assessments and decisions. For example, if you're working with a family from a cultural background that emphasizes communal living, you might advocate for a kinship care arrangement rather than placing the child in foster home with strangers. Kinship care not only keeps the child within their cultural context and their family context, but also supports their emotional and social well-being. Another practical tip is engaging in ongoing cultural competence training. This means continually educating yourself about the cultural backgrounds of the families you serve and being open to learning from them. By doing so, you'll be better equipped to approach each case with the cultural sensitivity it requires. Additionally, building relationships with community organizations that serve specific cultural groups. These organizations can provide valuable insight and support in working with families, helping you navigate cultural nuances and connect with families with cultural relevant resources. In summary, the child welfare system plays a crucial role in protecting children and supporting families, but it's not without its challenges. especially when it comes to cultural sensitivity and systemic bias. As social workers, it's our responsibility to work within the system while also challenging it to be more equitable and inclusive. As you reflect on today's discussion, I encourage you to think about how you can support equitable outcomes in your practice. How will you advocate for families who might be unfairly impacted by systemic biases? How will you ensure that your work with the child welfare within the child welfare system is culturally informed and just? Thank you for your dedication to this important work, and I look forward to seeing how you apply these principles in your practice.